How would you like to be trauma bond free in 2023? It is 100% possible if you are willing to change the way you look at trauma bonding. The mistake that a lot of people make is to believe that they are trauma bonded to another person. You might believe that you are trauma bonded to a narcissistic ex. That's why you can't get them out of your mind. It's why you can't stop allowing them into your life to use you and abuse you and lie to you and whatever else to you. Or you might believe that you are trauma bonded to your narcissistic, toxic, dysfunctional family members. And that's why you can't get far enough away from them and they keep on dragging you back into their dysfunction. You're not trauma bonded to those people. That thinking implies that they have power over you and you're waiting around for them to cut their end of the bond so that you can be set free. No. Here's some things that you are most likely trauma bonded to. Number one, your own desires. Yes, we all have desires, and your desires can have you trauma bonded and stuck in toxic relationships. Number two are your narratives. Your narratives are the story you've been told of who you are and what this world is all about. You can be trauma bonded to your narratives and therefore stuck in a toxic relationship. And number three is this silly little word called hope. Hope has messed everybody up. As a matter of fact, I made a video called Hope Kills, especially in toxic relationships. I encourage you to watch that video after this one. But you could be trauma bonded to hope, which has you stuck in toxic relationships. When I realized that I was trauma bonded to these things that exist in my mind, I was able to crush all trauma bonds. I have not been trauma bonded to a person or anything since, and I want the same for you. Let's expand on this topic. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I continue with this very important message that will help you from being trauma bonded, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls through Zoom, WhatsApp, and FaceTime. So if you would like to spend some quality one-on-one time with this face right here, then head on down there and schedule some time with me. Also, I have a coaching program where I do coach every day, Monday through Friday. My coaching program is live and in person, and I'm spending my time with you each and every day, along with a growing community of people who are ready to support you. So head on down there and check out the coaching program. Now, we're talking about trauma bonding. What is it you are trauma bonded to? I always thought it was a bit off to believe that I was trauma bonded to people because that implies that they have power over me. That implies that there is a bond or a connection that I have with those people. In other words, if I'm trauma bonded to other people, well, then they have a part in cutting me free, releasing their end of the bond. But then as I realized that can't be it because I don't believe they have anything to do with what I'm trauma bonded to. I started to look deeper into my own life at the things that I really believed and the ideas I had, and I started to see my trauma bonds. To begin with, desire. We all have desires. I have desires. You have desires. Now, desires can either come from, if you believe God, they're God-given desires, right? God said, be fruitful and multiply and, work and, find community, find the fellowship, whatever. That's whatever it is, you have these desires, or it could just be evolutionary desires, right? You come from a long line of survivors. Your ancestors made it through the Stone Age, the Ice Age, the Dark Age, the bubonic plague age, the age of Aquarius, and here you are, still alive. Whatever the case may be, you have desires inside of you that you cannot shake. Your desires are to find a partner. Your desires are to work. Your desires are to find community. You're bonded to these desires. The problem is that your desires, my desires, have been manipulated. They've been hijacked through society, through media. So not only do you have these desires, but you've been told what to desire, which is why you started going after the bad boys, which is why you believe that a beast can turn into a prince. Thank you, Disney, for Beauty and the Beast. So you see, your desire was hijacked, and it was driven and directed towards finding the alpha, omega, whatever. You started believing that your desires were supposed to be towards a frog that can turn into a prince. All right. What about your desire? That's in relationships. What about your desire for community? Well, you've been directed through stories you've been told that the only community that matters is perhaps your family. Family means everything. Blood's thicker than water, all these things. So your desire for community was hijacked and directed towards your family of origin. The desire is good, but the trauma is now because it's stuck with your family of origin. Listen, Jesus broke that nonsense lie. When people ran to him and said, Jesus, your mom and your brother are outside the synagogue. They want to talk to you. In the New Testament, Jesus says, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And he pointed to his disciples and he said, this is my mother and my brother. This is my family. My family's with me. Don't come to me with what you feel like is more important, what family you find more important. This is my important family right here, right now. So you see, we've been lied to, and therefore the desire is normal. You do need community. You do need a partner. But the direction has been traumatized. You've been lied to. And that's your trauma bond. You're bonded to the desire. The trauma is that it's been misled and misguided. So I challenge you to look around at your desires. You can start to change these things and you can see why you're trauma bonded to certain people. The next one I'll talk with you about is narratives. Narratives are the stories that you've been told about who you are in this world, who you're supposed to be in this world. Narratives are also what you've been told about the world around you. Let's look at some false narratives that we've all been told that have created these bonds. The narrative of everybody's loving and kind. How about that? Well, now we know that that's not true. There are, in fact, murderers and killers and thieves and narcissists and psychopaths in this world. Not everybody's loving. Or how about the narrative of you need to have compassion on the bullies and the narcissists and the evildoers of the world? That your compassion will change them. That's a false narrative. It's not true. So you're bonded to that false narrative. Watch this. You meet these people, they're abusive, they're not changing because the narrative is wrong. You're trauma bonded. You're bonded to the narrative, not to the people. The people are just traumatizing the experience. They're traumatizing the bond you have with the narrative. It's probably a good thing because you need to revisit these narratives. Oftentimes, narcissistic abuse does that for you. Narcissistic abuse shatters your narratives. This is what's so painful about it. It's not just that you're being abused by a narcissistic person. It's that your whole narrative of who you are and what the world means to you is being shattered. You're realizing it doesn't make sense. It was all lies. It's a good place to be because now you can rebuild your narratives, and you can. And this is going to change that trauma bond as you build the narrative because you get to rewrite history. You get to rewrite the story of the whole world if you want to. Why not? Most of the stories you've been told about the world and about your life and about this life, it's all been lies anyways. Rewrite it. And you get to. And in doing that, you're going to demolish those trauma bonds. The last one I want to talk with you about is hope. Hope is, once again, a very silly word when used out of context. We believe that we need to have hope in people, hope in places, hope in things. That's the narrative we've been given about hope. Hope is necessary in life. You are supposed to have hope. Naturally, there is a bond towards hope. The trauma is that natural bond has been directed towards people, places, and things. Hope in people, hope in places, hope in things. That's not what hope is for. Your natural God-given hope belongs to God. Your natural God-given hope is for your relationship with the unknown, with your spirituality, with what's in the next life, with what's beyond what we can see, beyond what we can touch, taste, feel. That's where your hope belongs. And that's a natural bond that you have. However, through lies, media, narcissism, whatever, you've been told to have hope in people, have hope in bullies, have hope in this, have hope in that. So your bond is with hope, but the trauma of it is that it's been lied to and misdirected. And this is your trauma bond. So my point in this video to you is to help you to understand that if you want to break trauma bonds, then you'll re-look at what you're trauma bonded to, and you'll realize that the bonds that you have are to natural things that have been misguided. The trauma is that they have been misguided. You're not trauma bonded to other people. You are trauma bonded to natural things within your life, bonds that you're supposed to have. The trauma is that they've been misguided. You've been lied to, and you're directing your bonds in places they don't belong to. That will sever those trauma bonds. Take it away from your family. You don't need to be trauma bonded to them. Take it away from your narcissistic ex. You're not trauma bonded to them. You're trauma bonded to these things that exist inside your mind. Change it. Let's work on it together. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. If this message was helpful for you, or if it was confusing for you, let me know down in the comment section below. Also, in addition to that, I would like to clarify this to help you out. So schedule some time with me, one-on-one time down below. In the description box, you'll find access for my calendar for one-on-one appointments, telephone calls, video calls, Zoom, WhatsApp, FaceTime. Also, my coaching program, which is available Monday through Friday to spend that time with me and a growing community. I encourage you to look at that coaching program. This next year is going to be an amazing year because we're going to be sending out all kinds of warriors and coaches, right? How many of you would like to get involved in that? Well, get down there. I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We.